YouTube, Damo_23 here, and welcome to another episode of the Glory Hunter Challenge. In today's episode, we do find out if we do get the job here from the Manchester City, situation where I have applied. I don't think I will. If you look at the job centre, Vincent Company is the guy that is favoured to get it. There is also a world where we do apply for the AC Milan job if it becomes available. However, there's also a big reason to stay here at West Ham. As things stand, we've got 53 mil to spend. We get 100% of the transfer revenue, and the club balance 38 million is okay. However, we've had two things happen. Firstly, Manuel Lanzini wants to leave as he's achieved everything at the club. We have just accepted a $17.5 million bid. That is quite a fair bit of money. That's another player in the books. That ain't too bad. But that's not what we're here for. Declan Rice has been unhappy. Very unhappy. He wanted to join PSG. He's been moaning for the last year. He moves into a year with one more year left on his contract, and we've had a bid from PSG. Initially, they bid 57 mil up front, plus 10 mil, plus 5 mil, and I just jokingly said, would you take $150 million up front, please, PSG? They said yes. I have no other option but to accept this bid. Because $150 million for a guy that's only got 11 to 12 months on his contract left and doesn't want to speak to me is outrageous. Yes, I know we cannot replace Declan Rice with someone of that quality, and especially someone that isn't as English as him, because he's English and, English talent's going to cost a lot. However, we do have a good enough squad, especially Marino, to allow Declan Rice to leave for 150 and spend it in other areas where it's needed. Another midfielder that is quite elite, yes. A left back and a right back that is elite, probably. And even a striker, so Danny Ings and the next striker can play together. So when Danny Ings gets injured, we have someone else of quality that isn't Scamacca, who, has had a pretty good year. With that being said, Danny Ings has been fantastic, but I think it's his time now to become a backup player at 30, starting to get too many injuries. He is still a very good player. And then someone like a Scamacca, who is interested at the minute, or he did have interest, is someone that I might look to just go, you're a decent player, you're not bad, but maybe we sell Scamacca to raise funds for another elite talent. If we could get 35 mil, so Declan Rice for 150 and sell Lanzini for 17, we're in a pretty big boat where I would definitely not look to leave West Ham, and I would look to spend absolutely huge to see what we can do. So, look, that's happening. That is happening. It's 150 mil. I'm going to take a screenshot of this to put in my Discord and send a photo to my mate Paul, and then we're going to accept that bid. And, well, when I see these guys next, it's either Manchester City offering us an interview, which if they do, so be it. I still would take the job even after selling Declan Rice for 150, or we're pretty much staying here for a second season as I'm looking to win the lot with the war chest of money that I'm about to be given. Well, I said that we could go down the route of signing a striker, and we have. DCL, ladies and gentlemen. If there's ever been a West Ham-y sort of striker to sign, I feel like DCL suits the real-life mould. Obviously, Everton last year finishing rock bottom, or not rock bottom, 18th. They still got relegated. Sean Dyche was in charge. He got the sack. They now have actually put Wayne Rooney in charge there, which I think is something that could happen in real life as well. But look, very, very happy to sign DCL. He would be the new number one striker. It allows me to move Danny Ings to a on the bench position. And in Football Manager terms, DCL does do a lot of things right. He's quick. He's powerful, he's great off the ball, he's got good work rate, he finishes, he's very, very good. When we play 4-2-3-1, we naturally play for pressing forward, which is fine. He says that he can play advanced forward. I don't mind. Look, I think we would use him as an advanced forward because he's quick enough to go up and down and get in behind as well, but it does take away from his ability to probably bring others in. I'd say his best role is probably a complete forward or a target man on attack. As well, one of those two, because he's so good in the air. But I definitely know if we went pressing forward full time, which I'm tempted to do, he would be fantastic. And those balls of the bots where Scamacca scored a few headers throughout the year. We saw obviously the back stick Marcus Thuram score a few headers throughout the year. Just think having DC out 6'2" and being so big, would allow us to be very, very good at what we do. So there we are. It's DCL. and it is a signing for West Ham. In terms of the Manchester City stuff, still haven't heard about an interview or anything yet, so I'm going to spend the money at will here too. But yeah, look, at the moment, looks like Polly's keeping his job at AC Milan. Looks like Man City we probably wouldn't get, but we have applied for. So I reckon it's going to be another year at West Ham, and with the money that we're getting to spend, I don't see any reason as to why we wouldn't stay and build something quite special here at West Ham. Feel like we could go with this money that we have really close to maybe, just maybe, winning the title as well. Let's see DCL. I want to see him. There he is. Lad. Okay, YouTube, we've just ticked into July, so we've officially started this season, the season 2 of Glory Hunter, in terms of transfer-wise. Just thought we'll recap what we've done so far and then discuss what I think we need, because I think it's becoming evident we're going to start West Ham for a second year. Nicholas Seiwald, we've already signed. We did that before we got the New Balance, so I wasn't impacted in that. Signed him with the intention of him being a backup ball-winning midfielder to, or a backup defensive midfielder to Declan Rice, but I also do think there's definitely a world where the 22-year-old will definitely play in the middle of the park too, because he's very good at getting up and down and impacting games as well. In that regard, I think he's just super well-rounded, so he's the one we've signed. You guys would also know that we've also signed Dominic Calvert-Lewin. We've done our own little skit on him, and officially Declan Rice has gone for 160 million there, and he's loving life. Good old Declan. Now, come to this year, we haven't made a signing officially just of yet, because I am going to talk about what we need, but I have made a couple of sales of another one on its way out. Ben Johnson somehow listed him up. English tax. There's no way this guy's worth 23 mil, but Al-Hilali, or however you say it, is definitely theirs. You might have seen the cat go past my face. It means I can actually minimise this. Is going to have to do the good old editing of cutting out the video. Secondly, Scamacca, and DCL coming in with Danny Ings being the second choice. The one that makes way is the Italian. Now, if I was probably playing this save longer term as just a West Ham owner or a West Ham club manager, I might have moved on Danny Ings instead because he's a bit older and seen if Scamacca hits his potential. In the end, I transfer listed him up for 35 mil. We negotiated with Napoli, still got the odd names there, and they wanted 32 mil up front. For me, just all that money is going to be Declan Rice replacement. You know, when you come to think of it, we already had 50 mil in the balance. We then sell Declan Rice for 160. You get rid of 32 mil for Scamacca. You get rid of 23 mil for Ben Johnson. Therein lies the team, and therein lies what position do you need, Damien? Apart from a left back, and I'm actively seeking a left back, it's defensive midfield. As much as Seiwald could play there, I don't want him to be the main man this year. I want him to be the guy that comes into the team next year as well. Marino could definitely start. Like, don't get me wrong, Marino could definitely start, but as a ball-winning midfielder or back line, I think he's so much better being in this role, being involved. So we need to go out there and spend on a defensive midfielder, and I personally think that with what we with the money that we've got and what we've built, I think that's a player we can't skip out on. I think he's the most important. We need someone over the level from right now. And I have a couple players in mind. Sacedo's one. I've got in mind a couple of others as well. You know, I'm having a look at Fabinho from Liverpool. He would be an older player, but someone that can fill the role. Looking at a couple other players there too. It is a position that I think is not too bad. I've already asked for Jude Bellingham. He doesn't seem particularly interested. But yeah, and then if you look at the bench, back up right back, because we're selling Bellerin, and I have accepted an offer for Kafau for 13 mil at 30. Kreza wants to stay and be back up, so I might sell Emerson to fund another one. Like, Emerson's got 25 to 27 mil. Maxwell Cornet has got bids, right? We've got a bid in for 27 mil from Al Hilal. Because I'm West Ham and they had a good first year in the top four, all the values are inflated right now for a lot of bench players that aren't particularly great. So, selling these guys for 20, 30 mil is going to allow me to buy in guys that are at the level or better for 20 and 30 mil. So we're in a really good spot, is what I want to try and highlight. If you have a look at the rest of the team, Caleb Akoli got called up for Italy, has played 2 caps, is probably deserving of starting over Joe Gomez. He's not going to. There might be a world where we even move Joe Gomez out to right back and Bellerin becomes a right back. Depends. If we don't find a right back, that might be what we do as well. Emerson's going to make way for Creswell. In fact, I'm just going to do this right now. I do think we need a left back and a defensive midfield is what we need. Syward, Marino, and Diarastica is your midfield three. Guys unbelievably good at impacting games. And this kid's going to be a wonder kid who's ex-wonder kid now. But yeah, need a backup right winger. I've got one in mind. You guys will be shocked who I've chosen. Vlasic has come back from loan from Torino where he had a pretty good spell in the Serie A. And look, I think when someone's in that form at Torino playing advanced forward a lot of the time, midfielder, shadow striker, I like him as someone that's an option. I think his best position is actually inside forward on the right, and we play with one on the right-hand side. Getting him in behind, running at people, international, only 25 years of age. I don't know why there's a 13 mil release fee there or something. Maybe someone's put a transfer value there, unspecified, there as well. I just think we're going to trigger the extension for 1 year. And I think instead of having to go and spend money on backup players and everything, Vlasic is better than what we had as a backup on that side, better than Fornals and etc. So he's going to be on that left-hand side as well. And then Danny Ings, who had a pretty good years up front. That looks like a team. Buy a backup right back, buy a left back, buy a defensive midfielder. We're in a really good spot. Pre-season wise has already been announced. Big games against Monaco, PSG, and then we're into the pre-season there. I might schedule my own couple of games in there as well. But we're in a pretty good spot. I'm going to definitely be back with a couple of more signings. We've got 240 mil to spend. But yeah, definitely need a six. Definitely need a left back. Let's go spend big, boys, because I think we're going to spend another year at West Ham no matter what now. Nice little segue here to say that we're 100% staying. Firstly, Manchester City, unfortunately, failed to make the shortlist. Delivery of clubs, highly ambitious for visions for the future. Complete lack of experience in winning league titles. So we weren't exactly ruled out when they went to the shortlisting process. Like, look, you haven't won any league titles, which is fair enough. Manchester City need that in their blood, so that's fair enough. Secondly, Cornet, 27 mil, gone officially. We've had a lot of people get upset. Vlasic came to me after I said I'm going to start him and said, oh, why did you sell Declan Rice? Told him the money was too good. He then pushed and shoved. I'm like, mate, you've only been here for 3 days since your loan. You can leave too if you like. He's like, look, I'm going to leave this here, but I'm not happy. So then we had a lot of the players there. The main reason that I took this talking about is the 3 guys I don't particularly care about in Trott, Joseph Anang and Coventry, but Tarum and Diarastica are 2 guys we definitely want to not get too unhappy with Vlasic. So we've actually promised them that we will be signing defensive midfield replacements, which I will do for sure. And if they're unhappy with who I'm going for, then so be it. And lastly, Zanolo is the player that I've gone for. That's correct. That's the right winger that I've gone for, the backup there to Declan Rice. You can also play through the middle as well in the 4-2-3-1, and you can also play back a line as well if needed. You can technically train him upon the left. He obviously in real life went from Roma to Galatasaray, which I thought was a bit of a weird move for him. And look, just to bring him back, he's fantastic. He's elite. He's mentally so switched on. He's going to want to start most games. I'm definitely going to look to use him off the bench in most games. But just having that sort of player when we need to rotate is massive. Having that sort of player to change a game is massive. So I'm very, very, very happy with that as well. And as you can see here, we've also got Creswell down to a new deal, but he now knows that he's not 100% a first choice. And Vladimir Kufia's going out the other way. So, if you recap here quickly how this looks, I'm very big, by the way. I'm getting my business done early, so then they're all here for pre-season. If you have a look at what this means, is without me doing too much, we've already sold 93 mil plus the 160, so 153 million. Sorry, that's wrong. 253 million of sales already for us, and we've brought in people in. Skamaka's gone, Cornet's gone, Johnson's gone, Vladimir Kufia's gone, and it's cost me less money to bring DCL in than selling Skamaka as well, and it's cost me way less money to bring Syward in as well. So yeah, we've done very, very, very well here for sure. And Zanolo comes in and he's going to fit himself straight in as the backup winger to Bowen. Now, big shout would be to actually play him, but Tarum's in too good form and had too good of a year to bench, and same with Bowen as well. So that's not going to happen. We could maybe train Zanola to play for Pasquetta, but quite happy how Pasquetta and Souček play. So yeah, maybe we get Marino in. Maybe. But we'll see in there too, because Souček is 28, but still in his absolute prime. He's fantastic at what he does. We could actually move him back in the ball-playing defender, ball-winning midfielder on defend, which could be an option. But I don't think we're going to do that either. But the team starting to take shape. So, in short, Zaniolo in, Cornet out, less money to bring Zaniolo in. Calvert-Lewin in for less money we sold Skamaka for. We've made a couple other sales too, and without me even doing much of this budget, right, maybe if I do this to give myself a touch more wage, we've got still $253 million to spend. And we still need a 10 and a left back. Let's see what we can find. Let's see what we can find. You might be questioning, Damien, why are you on Brighton for? Is there a reason? Is it to do with that the fact that you sold him Antonio and Ben Rama? No, just there's some notable players missing from that 11. They're a great side in real life and they're fantastic. And I've taken probably arguably their two best assets that they've had over the last 12 months to replace a couple of positions that we need. Antonio and Ben Rama, as much as they're great, they've paved the way for me to reach out to De Zerbi to take what I need from him. And, well, there is a player that we did pick up that has instantly made Vlasic happy that we sold Declan Rice. And the other one is a Stupian, which is correct. That's right. A Stupian comes in. His value's worth 100 to 123 mil, and he is your new left wing back, ladies and gentlemen. He is going to play the fullback on attack role. The physicality, the crossing ability to get up and down, he is sensational, and his name is Stupian. But the other one forces a slight change in the system, and his name is Salcedo. Salcedo, however you want to say-o, he is an unreal baller in real life. I actually think that he could be nearly best as a box-to-box midfielder getting up and down, and I'm very tempted to do it because I just feel like he's so good at what he does. And that's actually Marino's best preferred role in there is box-to-box as well. So I'm actually thinking that it's Souček Backline who, by the way, his best role is ball-winning midfielder because he just uses all his mentality and he's a big boy and he's strong and everything. And I'm actually thinking that we're going to go that. And look, I think one slight change. I've played with a box-to-box before and Marino played very well in this 4-3-3. One slight change to an actual winner and Salcedo playing box-to-box, I think is the way to go about it. And then that's going to be your midfield for the next few games for this season. And then it allows me to go Stupian into here as well. And you're already looking at a team that's like pretty good on paper. You've got Souček in the basement, the ball back at 6'4". You've got Salcedo running and driving at people in the box-to-box and harrying and winning the ball back. You've got Pasquetta creating. And then on the bench, you've got Sywood who can play either one of the roles. You got Marino, who is a box-to-box out and out as well, as good as Salcedo. And you've got Diarastica that can fit Pasquetta like for like. I just think we're in such a good spot with the team now. When you look at that starting 11, you're looking at it and you're going Bowen's of the level, Tarum's of the level, Calvert-Lewin's of the level, Stupian's of the level, Zuma's of the level, Joe Gomez is on the level. It's now just a question of goalkeeper maybe. You got Fabianski, who is 38 years of age and waning. You got Areola, who is a decent keeper for this level. Maybe that's the other position we go with. When you look at the transfers, there's still $160 million to spend. Maybe we go after a world-class keeper and be done with it. I think that might be only it. And then a right back, still needed too. But look at that squad. It is absolutely incredible. And I think the next time we're going to be back is going to be after the end of pre-season. And it will be hopefully with maybe one or two more signings as well. A couple of sales. And recap what has been a very eventful window. But we are officially staying here at West Ham. And they think that that is your best 11 at the moment. And I would happen, you know what? I would actually tend to agree that that could be the team that we do start with on the opening day as well. Welcome to the final part of episode 10, which has been so eventful. We have, firstly, Michael Edwards, the Director of Football, formerly of Liverpool, offering me a new deal, which we are going to definitely take. And the main reason for taking it is that if a job doesn't come available at the end of next season that we like, we can definitely then look to stay at West Ham just to build the reputation of ourselves and then look to move. And it doesn't put me on, a position where if we do have a bad start to the year, that we can be easily sackable too. Secondly, this might seem a little bit weird, but Chris Smalling, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be a player for ourselves here at West Ham, and he's going to be the last jigsaw to the puzzle here as well. And you might be thinking, Damien, really? Is that really what you're doing? Yes, it is. I love having English talent as part of the squad, and he's not the only English international that we've signed. Now, I will say Chris Smalling is not playing for England at the moment, but the player that I have signed is playing for England right now. And I know he doesn't get a lot of love in FM, but I actually do like him in real life, even though I am a Liverpool supporter. So that should point you in the direction of who I've signed. First reason why Chris Smalling. Well, we need a backup centre-back because I have made a decision that a collie is now playing for Italy. If we have an Italian international centre-back, he has to start. Simple as that. If you're playing for one of the best defences in world football when they are on song, in terms of international football, which is Italy historically, we do have the best defence in the world. Our World Cups are based on the fact that we defensively are solid. Then that means we have a decision between Bellerin and Gomez. Gomez is out the right back, Bellerin to the bench, which means we need a backup centre back. And I feel like because we do have a few younger players in the squad, our squad is like pretty well mixed, to be fair, right now. Heading, marking and tackling is still elite, still great determination, great positioning, and still naturally quite fit too at 6'4", and he's happy to be a backup player. I just feel like to get someone in like this that can be part of the team here is like so massive. And that means Joe Gomez is going out the right back, and that is your back four of Estupiñán, Okoli, Zuma and Gomez. And, well, yes, that is correct. Jordan Pickford, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, Everton got relegated. We picked him up for the measly fee of $8.75 million for England's number one. I know he shipped 67 goals last year, but there's a reason why we've signed him. He loves a big game. He's one of those guys that, you've seen it in real life. And I have faced against it on FM where he just does things where it's like, wow, what a save. This guy is actually quite good. Now, I'm a Liverpool fan. I make a lot of fun of small arms Pickford at times, but you cannot help but admire how well he plays for the English national side. And to be able to get the England's number one goalkeeper on the cheap is ridiculous. Now, look, in FM terms, in the FM world, Aaron Ramsdale should definitely be the number one for England in FM because he's the best English keeper in the game. In real life, I think Pickford is of that level, and he does exactly what you want him to do from a keeper. For ourselves, massively good one-on-ones, can kick and can go long to DCL. That's correct. We've signed 2 players from Everton. We've signed 2 players from Brighton here. His reflexes are second to none. He's also got great passing of 12, which is pretty good for a keeper, with 16 vision. So playing out from the back is superb. And I just think to get a guy in like this, we're going to give him the one. He's going to be the number one to start with. Areola will be the backup domestic keeper, and Fabianski will retire as the third choice keeper. I think it's just a great position to be in. He's also a natural leader. We just sold Declan Rice. We need leaders. So Smalling, Pickford, both natural leaders from where they've come from. I'm more than happy to definitely have a look at what we can do with those sort of guys being part of the hierarchy. I think it's just a really, really, really great signing and a great spot to be in. If you have a look at the hierarchy here, Pickford comes straight into highly influential, straight into the core because we have a lot of English talent that is all very similar. And I think that's fantastic. So without further ado, that's what your best 11 is going to be for the start of the season, if fit. And it's going to be Pickford, Gomez, Zuma, Okoli and Estupiñán with Souček, Saicedo and Pasquetta with Bowen, Thuram and Calvert-Lewin. I think that is a great side. And then if you look at the bench, right, your backup team would be Areola, Bellerin, Smalling, Tilio, Kera, and Creswell, Sywood, Marino, Diarastica, Zanolo, Vlasic, and Ings. Like, if you look at that second string side, you've got Zanolo, Ings, Marino, Diarastica, Sywood, Chris Smalling, Creswell, and Bellerin are all guys that could play first team football. Like, that is 9 of the 11 guys. And Areola probably fits the bill too. So, if I ever have to fully rotate, we've got an 11 on the bench that I think can beat most sides in the Premier League. I'm not saying that we're going to win the league this year, but I'm telling you right now that if I have to rotate in the FA Cup, I'm confident against most sides with that team. If I have to rotate in the Champions League against weaker sides, which I highly doubt we're going to get, I'm confident in that happening. I'm very confident in the occasional Premier League games with those 11 here having a start before a big Champions League game. I'm confident we'll be okay. If that's the position we're in, I think we're in an amazing moment, an amazing time, and well, let's go see what this season has to endure. With that being said, I will be here for the opening day where we will play Brentford away from home to kickstart our season. We've actually got a pretty easy run there in August, and I feel like if we're going to be around the mark, we need to go through and win all those games there in August if it's going to happen. Now, till next time, we'll do pre-season. I'm quite happy. You're all quite happy. We're predicted to come 8th. I think we'll smack that in. And apart from maybe Ariola and Marino, AI and ourselves are in agreement on what our best 11 is. And from next time, until next time, Dave_23. This has been Glory Hunter. Give it a like. Do subscribe to the YouTube channel. Who do you think our best signing was going to be? And would you have taken 160 mil for Declan Rice? Or would you let him run down his contract in the hope that maybe he could have got you the FA Cup or maybe even the Premier League title?